As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
It's Ohio State. It's rare that a team uh, gets their ass handed to them on the final game of the season, sits at home during championship game weekend, and still finds a way into the national championship conversation, the college football playoff. Um, I'm not necessarily saying that they shouldn't be in, but they're lucky that they're in. And I hope they get absolutely destroyed by Georgia. And I thought it was weird that the the TV show was asking the hard questions of the committee about, is the only reason you didn't have Ohio State number 3 is because you wanted to avoid the Michigan rematch. It's like number 3, sitting at home on your ass watching championship weekend and be the 3 seed. And I understand. I think Ohio State's a good football team, but they're lucky to be in.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't, not only did they not win their conference, they didn't win their division, and the one really good team they played beat their ass on their own field. Like,
Yeah.
so I get why they're in, because this is the real conversation. It's like, with what we just saw from USC, it's like, who else? I mean, Ohio State was really the only choice, and we know how talented their roster is. The interesting part about it, and Ryan Day, what do you say? It's like having a second lease on life.
Yeah.
He probably feels that way because he's like, okay, everyone hates me right now. There's a bunch of people that want me fired, even though Michigan's the only team I've really lost to. Now I can go win a national championship, even though we just got destroyed by Michigan. Like, he has to feel like the luckiest guy in the world. But there's also the possibility they get, like you mentioned, destroyed, and Ohio State fans are like, really, this is what we are. Like, this could end up, I'm not going to say Ryan Day's going to get fired or anything like that, but if they get beat by like 3 or 4 touchdowns by Georgia, there going to be a lot of Ohio State fans asking a lot of questions, man.
Do you think Ohio State is better than TCU?
I I don't, they have not shown me that they are.
I don't think they are.
Yeah, like
And like that was like a throwaway fact by Reese Davis on the show. It's like, well, we all know that Ohio State would be, a favorite over TCU. So it was the only reason they weren't the 3 because of the rematch. They didn't want the rematch against Michigan. And I'm sitting there like, I don't know. Now, hang on a damn second here. I'm not so sure about that last statement. Ohio State's got some good players. They got some legit dudes. There's no doubt that they do, but I'm not so sure about that.
yeah, no, I'm with you. We are on the same page. Now, I will say, a lot of people thought Georgia Ohio State was going to be the national championship game. We get in the semifinal now.
There you go.
Like, that's going to be, I expect Georgia to win that game, and we'll break that all down here in a couple of weeks as those games near. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of talent on the field. I know I'll be watching.
Yep. Yeah. I think the semifinals are good. I think the Michigan TCU game is going to be really good.
I do too. I really think people are sleeping on TCU, man.
They are. I'll have to go back and I'll do some more research on Michigan, but they have not faced a quarterback run game like they're going to see from TCU. Like, spread you out and do like some of the things they can do, and then Max Duggan being able to run it, and the wide receivers that they're going to be throwing at them. I think it's going to be a great game. I do.
Did you happen to see the Chris Sims tweet?
No.
Chris Sims, you're well acquainted.
Mm-hmm.
TCU in the CFP the Big 12 sucks, and I played in the Big 12. I know what the resumes are, but the middle class of the SEC would win the Big 12.
Who's the middle class of the SEC?
What? Mississippi State?
Yeah, they wouldn't win the Big 12.
No, they wouldn't.
No.
It's very interesting for me that Chris Sims, who is a Texas guy, who I assumed watched the Alabama-Texas game, watched his alma mater, who is a middle-of-the-class Big 12 team, almost beat what ended up to be the number 5 team in the country and should have beat them. Would say that about the Big 12. It's truly remarkable how big of an idiot that guy is. That's impressive.
He's also going to watch Kansas State beat Alabama's ass in the Sugar Bowl.
I won't be surprised.
I won't either. Because
been through that experience myself.
Yeah. Oh, and we'll have the familiar excuses out there, but yeah, I don't know. I disagree with that, but that is something good that TCU could take into the playoff.
Well, at least Chris Sims can sleep well at night knowing that he will be on Roy Williams' highlight film when he's inducted into the college football playoff, right? Or a college football playoff, college football Hall of Fame.
Yep, that's right.
I'm sure that clip will be played. All right, who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
I had to go with the U.S. Men's World Cup team. They got it handed to them. It was go down by a goal pretty early, and we just can't finish. Can't put it in the net, and it only got worse from there. It was frustrating. Maybe it wasn't a team that a lot of people expected big things from, but it was over pretty quickly for them this year.
I am not a soccer expert. I do not pretend to be, but Netherlands was much better at putting the ball in the net, which, from what I understand about the game, is kind of the whole objective.
Yep.
And this is where I'm at with it. And I get it that it's a really young United States team. Listen, I know that because they mentioned it on every broadcast they played like 500 times. So I get it. Very young team. Get it. But this is the United States of America. Like, getting to the knockout round should not be are we supposed to celebrate that? I'm confused. Since when did we do that shit?
I don't
know.
Oh,
awesome. We made it to the round of 16. Like, well, I'm supposed to be super excited about that? We don't have a guy that wants to shoot the damn ball. Go get a guy that wants to shoot it, wants to get the ball. And instead of being right near the goal and passing it, like, let's get a guy that wants to fire that thing.
Fire it. Let's go.
Once again, not a soccer expert.
Not a soccer expert either, but I just turned 41 years old. Gabe. And about 31 years ago is when I was told that it's coming. U.S. soccer, it's coming. It's happening. We're going to be there. We're going to be the best in the world at some point. It's the fastest growing sport in the U.S. Well, we've got crap to show for it right now on the national stage.
And once again, not a soccer expert. I feel like I have to clarify my comments with that. It was like, I don't know, the football equipment. It's like, how many coverages can you blow? I mean, they had wide open dudes kicking the ball into the net. How does that happen? I mean, like, if a guy makes an awesome individual play, and like sometimes like that happens, but for you to relax, to jog back to where a guy gets a wide open shot into the net for the first goal. Like the other two guys standing around go, I thought you had it. Like, what are we doing? At least make them earn it, man. These guys are wide open, kicking it in the back of the net.
I know. I even thought
Unmarked.
I heard
Unmarked, Ted.
yeah, unmarked. I thought I heard on the broadcast, they were talking about how tired they were and and how they had played the game on Tuesday. And I was like, Tuesday? They played on Tuesday and this is Saturday and we're going to talk about that they're tired? How is that possible? I've watched my niece play like 3 games, 4 games in a weekend easy. I mean, come on. How much time off do you need in between games? I mean, I'm sure Netherlands had about the same time off. Everyone's playing in a tournament. There may be a little bit of difference, but that's like looking for any excuse you can for the guys.
I'm with you. It was they missed too many opportunities, man. Like
They're
the
tired from
Pulisic
chasing after those mishandled passes that they keep having.
Yeah. Let's tighten it up, boys.
Mm-hmm.
4 years from now, we'll be back in, baby.
It'll be the year, baby.
We'll
4
be
years
back
from
in.
now.
All these guys will be in their prime. All these youngins will be in their prime. But no, I will say.
Let me ask you something. Will the U.S. win a World Cup in our lifetime?
Man, I hope so, because that would be fun. But it's kind of like a Big 12 team going and winning a national title. I'll believe it when I see it,
Okay. All right, that's true.
Just kind of where I'm at with it.
Well, we're happy that TCU made the knockout round. Okay.
Absolutely. They will be celebrated for making the knockout stage. But no, it was the World Cup was a lot of fun. I think it did get a lot of people excited about soccer in the country. I know I was watching every game, and now I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about. But I hope that this ends up being like the foundation for what all these people are saying it's going to be here in the future. Like how this group of guys is super talented, most talented roster, group of young guys that we've ever seen in American soccer. I hope that ends up turning into something. Like that's my hope. Because I want to watch them be good. Like if I'm going to watch the World Cup, I want to watch America win. Like that's just where I'm at with it.
I agree. Yep.
All right, let's finish up with my winner and loser. But first,
First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs, checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all, whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone. Everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. First Fidelity Bank provides free ATMs worldwide, making banking convenient wherever you are. They also give back to the community. FFB donates a total more than $500,000 to local charities and educational foundations. Make your life easier and go bank with First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information.
And if you're a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you are doing. Head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones Lineage single malt whiskey. It was voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world by Whiskey Advocate, and you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. Also, you got to snag some of Balcones Baby Blue Corn whiskey.
It's made from blue corn. That's the fancy corn.
And that is why it has won more than 25 awards. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some of Balcones Pot Still Bourbon. Its big flavors make it the perfect bourbon to drink year-round. Remember in 2012, Balcones Single Malt won the Best in Glass competition, beating brands like Johnnie Walker and Macallan. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. The whiskey may be made in Texas, but the owners are from Oklahoma. To find a liquor store that has it, visit balconesdistilling.com. All right, for my winner of the weekend, thought about going with Luke Fickell because him keeping Jim Leonard on board as his defensive coordinator there at Wisconsin, that felt big, Ted. That seemed like a big time retention for Luke Fickell.
Yep. Keep it in the family. Keep Leonard there. They've played really good defense. and bringing Luke Fickle's mind in there and adding to that. Now, I don't know what that means for the rest of the staff and how that's going to unfold, but no, I agree. I think that's a good decision.
Yeah, but my winner of the weekend, Colorado football. Deion Sanders is the new head coach for the Colorado Buffaloes. And listen, I have no idea how this is going to go, but I know this. Things can't get any worse than they already are at Colorado. 2 winning seasons since 2005. And I think one of those was the COVID year. They were like 4-2 or something like that. So it's been awful for Colorado for a long, long time. And this is not only is it an extremely interesting fit, but people are talking about Colorado football. Like
we'll continue to talk about Colorado football.
And like it's just like it is like there is a buzz and energy around Colorado football. And I mean, how many times have you and I talked about Colorado football in here? Well, we've been doing this thing for a couple years now.
0.
I don't think we've talked about Colorado football once. So I just think this is an awesome hire, whether it works or it doesn't. I'll say this. I'm not going to doubt Coach Prime. I mean, he did a great job at Jackson State.
Did a great job. I think he's probably bringing a really good quarterback with him. Already got a commitment from a top recruit. It's going to happen. It's going to happen quick.
Yeah. So Jackson State,
they kills it in the transfer portal.
Yeah, they just finished 12-0, won their conference championship game. I'm not entirely sure even what the future looks like for Colorado, right? I still am not entirely sure what is going to happen with the Pac-12. Maybe Colorado ends up back in the Big 12 somehow, but they can, with USC and UCLA leaving the Pac-12 here in 2024 for the Big 10, like maybe Colorado can climb the ladder in the conference. And what is preventing Deion Sanders from doing something similar to what we just saw Lincoln Riley do at USC? Now, is Colorado as cool as USC? No. Right? But I'll tell you this. You get kids to Boulder, I think that's half the battle, just getting them there. Anyone that's been to that town and been to Denver, because it's not far from Denver either, like those are two. That's an awesome college town. And Denver is an incredible city. Like all he has to do is get guys on campus, and I think he's going to land some players. It's a really cool area, but it does get cold. You're going to have to provide some great jackets for the guys. But dude, I don't know what's going to happen, man, but like this is the most interesting storyline in college football for the next couple of years. Like I can't wait to see what happens with this.
I agree. I think that some of the big things are recruiting, like you said, getting people in, and what kind of staff can he put together? I don't know who all he's going to bring from Jackson State. Maybe he brings everyone. I don't know, but I think it's like, if you ask me right now, I think it's going to work. Now, what does work mean? Does it mean that I think Colorado is going to start ripping off national championships? No, but I think Colorado is going to become, they're going to start ripping off winning seasons again. It wouldn't shock me if you had a winning season in year one. And maybe a couple years in vying for a conference championship, whatever conference that might be at that time. But I think it's going to work. And the key is going to be the players. He's going to recruit good players.
Yeah. And some interesting things coming out, like Colorado's willing to change some things for Deion Sanders. And I assure you, he did not take that job without getting some of those assurances in writing.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of reporting out there that the school's going to make it easier for transfers to get into the university. And I assume that there was a lengthy NIL discussion, like what is that system going to look like for Colorado? So it sounds like the university as a whole was willing to play ball to get Deion there, I'm sure they're going to be paying him a substantial salary as well. But man, it may all end up being worth it for Colorado because they have sucked for a long time, and this has people excited, man. It's got people excited, really
Yep.
excited.
I think there's gonna be some instant impact with transfer portals and recruiting. And I think that as that momentum gains and the attention continues to swirl, and there's going to be stories written, there's going to be people go up there and see what he's doing with the program, a little more access, a little more interest. People were interested at Jackson State, but obviously this is a step up to the Power 5 level, and I think people are going to be they're interested in. I was skeptical whenever he first said he wanted to step into coaching. I don't know that anyone's skeptical anymore. Have you heard anyone say that they don't think it will work? I haven't.
No.
Yeah.
I think like the first go around when he took the Jackson State job, like a lot of people brought up the, what was it called? Like Prime University, and like how poorly that thing, whatever he was trying to do there, went from a business perspective, especially. But yeah, I think he's impressed a lot of people these last couple of years with what Jackson State's been able to do.
Yep, I agree.
And I don't think many people are doubting that he's going to make Colorado better. Now, that's not saying much because they've been terrible, but yeah, it adds a fun wrinkle to the Pac-12 for sure. And you mentioned it earlier, but Sunday it already started. Man, Colorado gets a commitment from a top 20 player in the class of 2025, wide receiver Winston Watkins from IMG Academy. He's committed to Coach Prime. So
wow,
already seeing it. Top 20 player going to Colorado, as we all anticipated.
Yeah, well, that's good stuff. And I think his son is probably going to go with him. And I don't know a whole lot about him. I've seen some of the highlights because Jackson State's the only non Division One FBS that you really get to see highlights on a routine basis, and he's pretty daggum good.
Yeah, I assume. Remember, they had Travis Hunter, who is the number one player in the country.
Yeah,
you would assume he's going to come to Colorado, but I imagine if that guy goes in the portal, everyone is going to be making their offers to him for his services. So we'll see. We'll see if, and maybe he stays at Jackson State. Who knows? Never know.
Yep.
All right, for my loser of the weekend, thought about going with Lamar Jackson, man. Ugh.
Yeah.
The bet on yourself season, no contract in place yet with the Ravens, leaves the game against the Broncos with a knee injury. That is, now it didn't look too serious, but anytime you hear knee injury and he doesn't come back in the game, this is a guy that is playing for his big time contract. Just not what you want to hear, Ted. Not what you want to hear.
No, he's still going to sign a massive deal, but I agree. Baltimore holding off and not offering the huge money deal. I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, because obviously this is going to be held over his head, but there's still going to be plenty of teams out there ready to sign him to a huge deal.
Yeah, and if you thought Broncos fans and those defensive players for the Broncos were mad at Russell Wilson before this, Baltimore ended up holding on 10-9 to win over the Broncos.
Oh my God.
Gave up 10
great.
points and lost. Oh,
that's great.
That's got to be so painful for Broncos fans and for those defensive players. I imagine a few more defensive players are going to yell in Russell Wilson's face, Ted.
Oh, I can imagine. Imagine, man. I'm kind of worried about the future for old Russell Wilson.
Yeah, be interesting to see how that all works out. That could go down as one of the worst trades in the history of the NFL. They gave up a ton for him, and they are 3-9, and the worst offense that the NFL has seen in like decades.
And I don't know what are they. They're probably throwing somewhere near 40 million at him too.
Yeah. Awesome.
Whew.
Congrats, Broncos fans. I also thought about going with Coastal Carolina. It was only a matter of time, but Jamie Chadwell, he ends up taking the Liberty job on Sunday. 7-year deal at an average of more than $4 million per year. And to make it worse, Coastal Carolina got house in the Sun Belt Championship game. I mean, that was not even close. Troy put it on them. So not exactly. And it was these last couple of weeks for Coastal Carolina. It was clear that something was going on. They were not playing good football. But yeah, Jamie Chadwell to Liberty, taking Hugh Freeze leaves, takes Auburn. Liberty opens up. They spent a ton of money on facilities. They're paying coaches really well. And Jamie Chadwell is like, yep, I'll do that. Go Flames.
I'm kind of shocked that that's where he's going. I know it's going to be a massive pay raise for him, but I thought for sure he would, hold off until he got a Power 5 offer somewhere, right? I mean, that's seems strange to me, but no, guess he's happy with it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it works out for him. But my loser of the weekend, and I know I can't imagine he wanted to do it, but Nick Saban, what was that? I mean, every time I looked up on my TV, Nick Saban was in that red jacket trying to say why Bama should be in the playoff. What the hell was that?
I don't know. Well, you do what you can to try and get your hat in the ring. It was. I don't think, man. It didn't feel like there's some Alabama fatigue with the college football playoff, right? And I just don't think that people would have been able to stomach them making it in, really, no matter what the ultimate result was. So I know what he was doing, but it wasn't going to happen this year. Sorry.
Yeah, despite his best efforts on Fox
Yeah.
and ESPN, he and it was interesting. He had like two main arguments. The first one was, well, Bryce Young was hurt, now he's healthy, we're different, which okay. But the second one I just can't get on board with, man, because and I get what he's saying, and he's right. Alabama would be favored over Ohio State, and Alabama would be favored over TCU. But they were also a 9-point favorite over Tennessee, and they were a 13.5-point favorite over LSU. And what happened in those games?
That's right.
So the we would be favored in Vegas argument doesn't work for me when you lost 2 games you were a big favorite in.
Yep.
So,
that really
miss me
doesn't
with
matter.
that. You're the best coach ever, Nick Saban. I respect the absolute hell out of you, but he couldn't have enjoyed that. Like, that had to cause him physical pain to do that stuff, right?
It looked like it was causing him physical pain. Yeah. And like I said before, I think Kansas State has a heck of a shot to beat them.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that. He knew they weren't going to get. Maybe it's this, man, and go back to before the season. All we were talking about is like, hey, does anybody have enough to beat Bama with all the talent they had with Anderson back and with Bryce Young back and all the pieces, right? I wonder if he just looks at it and he's like, man, we really underachieved. And I know it's underachieving when it comes to Bama expectations and their standards. But I wonder if he looks at it and goes, man, we messed this up. And maybe that's why he was pushing so hard, because he may think like, yeah, we have what it takes to win a title. And if anyone knows, he knows. So maybe he's looking at it going, man, I messed up. The staff messed up. We failed these kids. And I don't know. And maybe it's just trying to make it right. But that was so weird seeing him do that.
It was weird. And I will say that, like, it seemed like Bama never really played to what we thought they would this year. really at any moment. But yeah, they ran into a hornet's nest in Tennessee. Like that thing was just kind of destined to happen at that point. And they even got screwed down the stretch with some calls. But I you lose on the road against a really good Tennessee team and on the road against a really good LSU team. I I get the point, but it's just not this year. Sorry. Next year. We'll see you next year.
I'm with you. And it is what it is. It'll be all right. It'll be all right, Nick. They'll be good again next season.
They'll be good next year. Yeah, we're not worried about it.
They'll be very, very good again. We're not worried about Alabama at all. I do think that I wonder if his players liked him doing that. Like I imagine those guys were watching those games and be like, what is he? Okay. Yeah, sure. Like,
Though they're probably like, yeah, that's right. We'd be a favorite against them. Come on, man. We beat whoever these guys are. Yes.
I would pay money to hear how short the conversation was when they asked Josh Heupel to do something similar.
Yeah.
Because you got to assume, like, hey, Heupel, you want to come on and maybe make your case? Like the doors opened up with USC. I have to imagine that was the fastest no in the history of no's.
Are you sure that Saban he wasn't the one calling in the favors to get on and lobby?
Well, I mean, if Nick Saban called and say, hey, can I come on? Everyone's going to say yes.
I guess, is this something they do every year?
A little bit, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
But it was the first time it was a 2-loss team that had not played in their conference title year. Like, what's going on here? Like, there's no chance.
No.
We say that they ended up at number 5.
Right. It was probably and in that room there was probably that was probably the longest conversation.
Yeah.